Freedom Summer, also known as the Mississippi Summer Project, was a 1964 voter registration drive led by civil rights organizations like SNCC, the SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and CORE, aimed at increasing the number of registered Black voters in Mississippi. It involved thousands of volunteers, mainly white, who worked alongside Black Mississippians to combat voter intimidation and discrimination. That is how the internet describes Freedom Summer 1964. And I am telling you right goddamn now. Hold on, let me move myself up here so y'all can see me clearly when I say this. I'm telling you right goddamn now. There needs to be a Freedom Summer for white people. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I will explain why momentarily. But before I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am your homeboy First, and this is the realest, most entertaining show in the game. Put it on something. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. Put all your people on it. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers over here, y'all. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. A lot of y'all watching, but I ain't subscribed. I need that. You know what I'm talking about? It costs you nothing to hit that button. Also, follow me across all social media platforms, trying to reach 10,000 over there on TikTok, trying to get to 67,000 on Instagram, trying to get to 55,000 on Facebook, okay? So let's keep running this up, okay? Let's keep running it up. Join the channel as well. Become a member, because with your help, we will change the world, okay? Let's get into it. You might say first, hold on now, didn't you just talk about Freedom Summer 64, trying to register Black Mississippians? How in the hell you flipping that to white people? Like they were registering, the Freedom Summer workers were getting these Black people registered to vote. Like white people have the right to vote, so why we need a Freedom Summer? White people need a Freedom Summer to free themselves of the Republican Party. Because there are some people, there are many white people who are voting for the Republican Party, who are voting against their own damn interests. Now, so if you're a conservative out there, I ain't talking to you. If you're a fiscal conservative, you want those tax cuts, you want industries to be deregulated, I ain't talking about you. I ain't talking about you. You up here making, I don't know, 100 racks, 200 racks a year. You a millionaire, billionaire. You want to eat folks? I get it. I totally get why you voting Republican. I get it. I'm talking about the average American, the average white person, the white Mississippians that I see, you know, around here where I'm from, that be struggling too. I spent a lot of time in the hospital with my mother. So a lot of white people in the emergency rooms who looked like they had a little bit of nothing, struggling. So some of them rocking Trump gear. I'm like, what the fuck? You voting against yourself? I see reports about white people in Kentucky where damn near the whole school is taking part in the free lunch program. That's a economic indicator. That means that area is a high poverty area. I'm seeing the folks talking about they support Donald Trump. I hear things about West Virginia. And a lot of Black folk know goddamn West Virginia. They struggling. about they voting for motherfucking Donald Trump. We need a freedom summer for white people. By white people. Just like Freedom Summer 64. As y'all saw, the volunteers were mainly white who partnered with black Mississippians who put their lives on the line as well. Now, don't get it twisted, okay? But I'm talking about like you liberal white folks out there who get it, who understand. Y'all gotta talk to your cousins. You gotta talk to your uncles and your aunties. Hell, your mom and daddy. And try to convince them. Ask them, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you voting against your own damn self-interest? Now, this ain't nothing that just started. It's been going on for decades. Okay? Been going on for decades. Because the Democratic Party has lost the white vote going all the way back to the 60s. Okay? Take a look at this chart here. Let me move this banner out the way. Okay? As you can see here, of course, the blue representing the Democrats, the red representing the Republicans. As you can see here on this graphic, the Democratic Party has not won the white vote since 1964. That was Lyndon Baines Johnson versus Barry Goldwater. Okay. That was last time. Last time. Now you may wonder, what the hell happened? The Democrats must have turned their backs on white people. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Neither party is anti-white. Neither one. Neither one did. Fuck what these folks be talking about reverse discrimination and all that. Neither political party in America is anti-white people. Neither party has been systematically oppressing white people or writing legislation that systematically oppresses white people. No, they have not. That's bullshit. That's propaganda. But that propaganda has worked. See, after that 64 election, that boy Richard Milhouse Nixon, that boy started using something called a Southern strategy, see, to reach out and appeal to these Southern whites who felt disillusioned with the Democratic Party because Lyndon Baines Johnson, between that 64 and 68, see, in 64, he signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Okay. But I guess in between 64 and 68, that shit had time to marinate. Okay. They had time to see the ramifications of the end of Jim Crow. You know what I'm talking about? And they ain't like that shit. To my Southern races, that is. Okay. He also, in between that time, in between that 64 election and that 68 election, Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Okay. Also, during that time, we saw the 24th Amendment be put in place, getting rid of the poll tax. Okay. And I'm sorry, the literacy test was done away with by the Voting Rights Act of 65. Okay. Also, in between this time, you see the Fair Housing Act get passed and signed by Johnson. So Johnson did a lot of shit that was perceived by white racists as he catering to the niggas. And so motherfuckers like Richard Milhouse Nixon, they knew how to rope those disillusioned white voters on in. Voters who had just 4 years ago supported LBJ. Richard Milhouse Nixon said, I'll be the president for the silent majority. I'm going to be the president for the motherfuckers that ain't out here protesting and carrying on and all this shit. Well, you may say, well, first, that's just because it was protest votes. So much was going on and things like that. That's why they changed. Why the fuck has it stayed that way then? Huh? It ain't been no goddamn civil rights protests and Vietnam War protests throughout all these fucking decades. Why then has the Republican Party had this fucking grip on the white vote? It's because the Republican Party stuck to Richard Milhouse Nixon's game plan. I would argue that motherfucker, Ronald Reagan, perfected the shit. Perfected it. And now Trump has put a 21st century spin on that shit. A social media era spin on that shit. Let's look at the 2024 election. Let's take a look at that. You're going to see more of the same. You're going to see more of the same. And this information comes from the exit polls from the night of the 2024 presidential election. Okay. You see, it says white people made up 71% of the electorate. Black people made up 11% of the electorate. Hispanics/Latinos made up 11% of the electorate. Asians made up 3% of the electorate. American Indians made up 1% of the electorate. And other, I guess, people who their race is ambiguous, made up 2% of the electorate. Okay. You see of the main groups that we talk about: white people, black people, Hispanics, and Asians. Okay. There's only one group that Donald Trump won. He lost the black vote. For all the shit you hear about Black MAGA and all that kind of shit, that motherfucker got his ass whooped handily when it comes to the black vote. So it wasn't black people that put Donald Trump in the motherfucking White House. We probably had lower turnout. We may have had that. But the black folks who took their ass out to vote voted for Kamala Harris. It wasn't close. For all the talk about Hispanic men, and for some reason this motherfucker did do good with Hispanic men. I bet you some of their ass are thinking twice about that right now as he calls in these soldiers on their ass out there in LA. But even with that, even with the success of the Trump campaign with Hispanic men, Kamala Harris still won that vote. Kamala Harris won the Asian vote. Now, if you go down to American Indians, I have no idea why in the hell any American Indians would be voting for the Republican Party. That's fucking crazy to me. But hey, and the others, I don't even know what. I don't know who those people are. But for white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Trump only won one group, and that's white folk. So when we look at who put this motherfucker in office, when you look at who's responsible for these tariffs, when you look at who's responsible for the so-called big, beautiful bill, when you're looking at who's responsible for USAID getting fucked up, when you look at who's responsible for all those layoffs that Doge did, it was white people. The data clearly shows that. So again, I say, there needs to be a freedom summer for white people. Because far, far, far too many white brothers and sisters are voting against their own damn interests. And I can prove this shit. Let's check this out now. Let's look at something. First of all, a lot of people out here in this country don't goddamn understand the racial demographics of this country. I think folks be looking at the NBA, NFL, and rap music and shit and think like this country is like 40% black or something. No, it ain't. Ain't nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. This data comes from 2023. It says, in 2023, the U.S. population breakdown by race was as follows. Whites were the largest racial group, comprising 59.2% of the population, followed by Hispanics or Latinos at 19.1%. Black or African Americans made up 12.6% of the population, and Asians accounted for 5.9%. So as much as racial demographics have changed due to immigration, white people are still far and away the majority racial group in this fucking country. Majority. And that's why when it comes to these damn programs that folks be acting like blacks and Latinos are just on the government's tit. And we need to reduce spending. Those blacks and Latinos are just lazy. They need to get off their asses and go to work. They don't need this. They don't need that. These motherfucking programs, every one of them I'm about to show you, primarily benefit white people. Let's start with Social Security. Let's start there. Okay. Y'all can look all this shit up. It's readily available online. It is quick little Google search shows you this shit. Okay. It reads, while it's not possible to pinpoint one specific race with the most Social Security recipients in a definitive way due to the complexity of factors like population size and benefit eligibility, it's generally understood that white Americans receive Social Security benefits more often than other racial groups. That's just common sense. As it says here, the white population is the largest racial group in the United States, so naturally, more white individuals will receive Social Security benefits due to sheer numbers. So when these folks be talking about privatizing Social Security, or be talking about raising the age of retirement age, or downsizing staff at Social Security offices and all the kind of shit that they're saying, or when Howard Lutnick, one of Trump's do boys, talking about only fraudsters complain or would complain if a Social Security check didn't come. He getting at white folks. You motherfuckers hear that shit and think he talking about blacks and Latinos. He talking about white folks. Come on, man. We can keep going. We can keep going. Oh, let's talk about Medicaid. Okay? It says in 2022, the Medicaid/CHIP enrollment distribution by race and ethnicity was as follows. White, 39.6%. Hispanic, 29.3%. Black, 20%. And Asian, 5.3%. This means that while white individuals made up the largest portion of enrollees, a significant number of Hispanic and Black individuals were also covered by Medicaid/CHIP. Now, this is the shit I be talking about, especially when we get to these anti-poverty programs like Medicaid and food stamps, shit like that. The media, who knows this shit, loves to put a black person as the face of the shit when they be talking about this stuff. And that's bullshit. That's utter bullshit. You see it right there. White people make up the largest amount of people who depend on Medicaid. CHIP. CHIP is for Children's Health Insurance Program. It's white people. Again, white people are overwhelmingly the biggest group in this country. Now, black people and Hispanic people are disproportionately on that shit. Meaning, black folks only make up 12, 13% of the population. So for 20% of us to depend on Medicaid CHIP, that's disproportionate. Okay. For Hispanics to make up what I say 19% of the country, and for 29% of them depend on Medicaid CHIP, that's disproportionate. Meaning this shit is not equal to their demographic numbers in this country. Okay. But don't get shit twisted. Still, the majority of the motherfuckers who own it are white. So when these folks say this so-called big beautiful bill gonna kick a hell of a lot of people off Medicaid, you better believe a lot of them folks gonna be white. And a lot of them folks gonna be the same people who voting for Donald John Trump, rocking the damn MAGA hat and all that shit, and been depending on the government for their fucking health care. We can keep going. We ain't gotta stop there. We ain't gotta stop there. Let's go to another program. Shall we? Let's go Medicare. Let's go Medicare. All right. Government program help elderly people go to the doctor, get the medicine, all that shit. It says in the United States, non-Hispanic whites are the largest racial group among Medicare beneficiaries. In 2023, they made up approximately 72.3% of all Medicare recipients. Black and Hispanic beneficiaries followed at about 10.1% and 9.8% respectively. Again, another government program that is overwhelmingly benefiting white people more than anybody else. So when you hear these fucking politicians on the conservative side talking about we got to do something about entitlements, we got to do something about Medicaid and Medicare, we got to do something. It's exploding the debt, it's exploding the deficit. We got to do. They ain't talking about your ass. White brothers and sisters, they talking about your ass. They're going to be affecting your grandmama's health care. If you old enough to get it, they're going to be affecting your ass. Come on, man. I ain't got to stop there. I can keep goddamn going. Let's do another one. Let's try Oh Snap. Oh Snap. For the OG like me, goddamn it, food stamps. Oh, no, somebody out there showing up thinking that this gonna be black folks and Latinos, ain't it? SNAP participation by race. White. Approximately 36% of SNAP recipients identify as white. Black or African American, around 26% of SNAP recipients identify as black or African American. Roughly 15% of SNAP recipients identify as Hispanic. The remaining participants include those who identify as Asian, Native American, or those with unknown or unspecified race/ethnicity. So once again, this is another program that mainly benefits white people. Again, black people disproportionately depend on it. Again, we make up 12, 13% of the population, but make up 26% of the program that's disproportionate. But we know our group, our racial group is the racial group that was enslaved from 1619 to 1865 and then dealt with 100 years of Jim Crow and then has still dealt with systemic racial discrimination since then. Okay. that plays a role in poverty. So it kind of makes sense that we would be in that situation. But look at that. We still ain't the biggest group who depend on food stamps. Despite what media headlines may show, despite what these white supremacists may tell you. So when these motherfuckers are talking about putting work requirements on food stamps and talking about cutting this and cutting that and all that kind of stuff, they talking about white people too. They're mainly talking about white people. Look at the numbers. I ain't got to stop there. Told you I ain't got to stop now. Oh, let's go to one more. Let's do one more. Let's do Obamacare. The Affordable Care Act. The shit that Sarah Palin and them were trying to tell you was going to lead to death panels and it was going to lead to the downfall of the American healthcare system. It was going to lead to socialized medicine. Oh, Obama is coming to take away your doctor and all this shit. Let's take a look at this now. It reads, while it's difficult to pinpoint one specific race as having the most Affordable Care Act ACA recipients, data suggests a significant number of non-Hispanic white people have gained coverage under the ACA. However, Black and Hispanic populations have experienced substantial increases in health insurance coverage through the ACA, particularly due to the Medicaid expansion. Let's take a look at this, y'all. Here's a more detailed look. Non-Hispanic white, nearly 8.2 million non-Hispanic white people gained coverage between 2010 and 2015, representing 43% of the total gains. 8.2 million people, 43% of the total gains were white. For Black people, 2.8 million non-Hispanic Black people gained coverage during the same period, representing 15% of the total gains. That's 43% white people. That's 15% Black people. Hispanic, 6.2 million Hispanics gained coverage, making up 32% of the total gains. So you telling me that the first and only Black president's signature historic legislation does not primarily benefit Black people? Hell, it doesn't secondarily benefit Black people. Black people coming in third on this damn list. White people number one. And so many of these motherfuckers sat up here. To my these racists now. So many of these white racists have sat up here and made President Obama be like the damn Antichrist. It's quite possible President Obama saved your goddamn life. Every damn major social safety net program I just fucking showed you primarily benefits white people. Then why in the hell? Why in the hell now? And white people been voting like this? Why? Why? I got an answer. I got an answer. But that answer don't make no goddamn sense. All these fucking programs, Social Security, put in place by a liberal Democratic president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Medicaid, Medicare, put in place by Democratic president Lyndon Baines Johnson. SNAP, the damn the party that be steady saying, don't cut SNAP benefits, don't cut. You're gonna have starving children, y'all. That be the Democrats talking that shit. Obamacare. Y'all know Obama damn Democrat. All this shit that these Democratic presidents have done, and they can't get the way vote. It's like they helping white people like a motherfucker. Folks like Bernie Sanders be saying the Democratic Party has turned its back on white people. No, the fuck it hasn't. No, the fuck it hasn't. What happened was the Democratic Party stopped being anti-black as well. Now, do I mean by that? Hold on. Let me bring myself back up here. Let's make sure you can see me clearly now when I say this shit. But you motherfuckers get them fingers going. I want you to make sure you hear me. Now, am I saying that the Democratic Party does not have any racists in it? Fuck no, I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about as a party structure, as an organization, as a like when you look at the fucking party platform and all that kind of shit. And you look at who makes up the Democratic Party, who's in it, who are the Congress people, who are the senators, and are the majority of them anti-black? No. No. You ain't got no damn Benny Thompson in the Republican Party. You ain't got no goddamn Jasmine Crockett in the Republican Party. You ain't got no Barack Obama, Michelle Obama in the motherfucking Republican Party. You ain't got it. See, this is what really causes polarization in America. You know, oh, so polarized, our politics so polarized. See, both parties used to agree on this, that white people are superior. Both parties used to believe that shit. Both. You can go back to the early 1900s all the way up. Teddy Roosevelt was a motherfucking racist. He was a racist. I think one documentary I watched quoted that motherfucker as saying it'd take 1,000 years for the black man to reach the intellectual capabilities of the white man. Something of that nature. Racist as fuck. He was a Republican. Progressive Republican, but Republican. Woodrow Wilson, Democrat. Raised in the motherfucker. Resegregated damn federal offices and shit. Showed the racist ass movie Birth of a Nation at the White House. Racist. Democrat and Republican. They used to agree on white supremacy. They may disagree on government spending, or they may disagree on the income tax. That was something that was put in place by Woodrow Wilson. You know, they may disagree on government regulation. You know, all that kind of stuff. But they agreed on white supremacy. So when the Democratic Party started disagreeing with the Republican Party on white supremacy, and you had some Republicans like Nixon, like Reagan, like Bush Sr., like Trump, willing to use these dog whistles and these wink winks and all that kind of shit to say, come on over here. This is the white man's party. To say you may not have much, but you have white skin, and that makes you good. That makes you culturally better. It makes you mentally better. You got big brain. All this shit. And so that person who's dependent on Medicaid and SNAP and Medicare and Social Security and all this shit that's being pushed by the Democrats, like, to them, getting that shit ain't as important as defending the idea that I'm white and this is my country. I'm white and I'm better than everybody else. I'm white and what I say should go. And so I say there needs to be a freedom summer. There needs to be an army of white liberals who you ain't even got to really leave your home. You really ain't even got to leave your neighborhoods. But you got to talk to your people. Talk to them. Now, if you want to take it to another level and do like Freedom Summer 64, then you can go to these Republican strongholds. You can go to Texas, go to Florida, go to some of these states that got a lot of electoral votes that be going for Republican. Shit, don't leave it at that. Leave no stone unturned. Fuck it. Come to a Mississippi. Cause them states add up too. Go to a West Virginia. Go to a Kentucky. Go to a Louisiana. These are struggling ass states. These are poor states. And ask your people. You probably got some kinfolk in these states. If you coming from one of these blue states and shit, go ask your people, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Don't you understand that you're voting against your own damn interests when you vote for people like Trump? Don't you understand that you're harming yourself by doing this? They ain't gonna listen to me. They ain't gonna listen to me. Okay? Kamala Harris tried to reach out to him. Hell, she even started campaigning with some Republicans. She had goddamn Liz Cheney running around with her. Dick Cheney's daughter. That shit didn't work. Didn't work. President Obama put an old white guy on the ticket with him. Despite whatever you say about Joe Biden, for most of Joe Biden's political career, he was seen as a damn moderate. So President Obama put a moderate old white guy on the ticket with him. Still lost the white vote. Bill Clinton was a Southern white guy from Arkansas. Still lost the white vote. Jimmy Carter was a Southern white guy from Georgia. Still lost the white vote. And I just showed you these motherfuckers either implemented shit or continue to champion programs implemented by previous Democratic presidents that primarily help white people. Yet they still haven't been able to win their vote. And you can't just tell me, well, white people are more fiscally responsible. The Republican Party ain't fucking fiscally responsible. If you look at any unbiased data, it shows you that when these Republican presidents are in office, going all the way back to Reagan at least, these Republican presidents in office, they run up the deficit and national debt more than the Democrats. Because they don't stop spending, but they do cut taxes. And they do deregulate. And they do fuck up the economy. And then a Democratic president had to come back up in there and try to save the shit. Come on, man. Come on, I mean, you look it up. Look it up. Motherfuckers had a balanced budget under Bill Clinton. What George W. Bush do with that? Great recession. Debt skyrocketing. President Obama had to goddamn do the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, try to goddamn save the economy, stop the motherfuckers from going from a recession to a damn depression. What Trump come in this bitch and do? Mishandle COVID. Didn't cause it. But the presidency is largely about responding to shit that you didn't do. And he mishandled that shit. Joe Biden had to come up in there, bitch, get some straight. When he left office, motherfuckers were saying, conservative leaning publications were saying, strongest economy in the world. Now, in just a few months, motherfuckers predicting a recession now because of Trump. So you can't say white folks are voting for Republicans because they're more fiscally responsible. Fuck that. Fuck that. Are you gonna say white people more religious than every other group? Numbers don't show that. Numbers be showing that black people are the most religious motherfuckers in the country. So come on, what we talking about? You can trace it right back to the 60s, baby, to the civil rights era. Look up the Dixiecrat Revolt. Look it up. That shit started back in 48. Why did Southern whites get pissed off with the Democratic Party initially? It was because Harry Truman desegregated the military. And Southern whites, like Strom Thurmond, were like, fuck this shit. We rather start our own party, the Dixiecrat Party, States' Rights Party. Look it up. The shit started there. And that shit became cemented later on when Johnson put that pen to those civil rights bills. Civil Rights Act 64, Voting Rights Act 65, Fair Housing Act, all that kind of shit. And I told you, Nixon said, come on in. And I told you, Reagan said, shit, I got you. You motherfuckers used to worship Reagan until old Trump came along. And y'all clearly see what he on. So we need a freedom summer for white people. I need all my liberal white brothers and sisters out there who y'all know better. You know what's happening. You vote your interests. You vote your beliefs. You got to talk to your people. You got to talk to your people and ask them, why the fuck are you doing this to yourself? Put it on something.